Guys, my name is Aisha Chestnut, and today I would like to talk to you guys about Gen Z being lazy or Gen Z not liking to work. Now, before I get started, by raise of hands or just by thought, how many of you guys think that Gen Z is lazy or have heard that Gen Z is lazy? Or maybe you've met a Gen Z and thought they're a little lazy or don't like to work. Now, I understand that this is a common misconception about Gen Z, but I would like to beg and differ and say that we're actually not lazy. I think that's something that's misunderstood about us. I think we actually are revolutionaries. I think that we want to envision the workplace. I think we're super fed up with the way people treat the working class. We really prioritize our mental health and work-life balance, where we can work manageable hours while not working ourselves to death, while also having good social life balance with work, while also making enough money to live a quality life. From my personal experience, I know people think we're lazy, but from my personal experience, a lot of people my age, since we were about 14, 13, have had jobs consistently throughout up until this point. Oftentimes have multiple jobs just to get by and to support themselves while also going to school. Now, one thing that I would like to start off with talking about Gen Z and this whole lazy stereotype is the economic problems that we face in Gen Z. According to a stat by the Forbes list, 56% of Gen Z are living paycheck to paycheck. Now, what this means is that if we have any emergency or if we have anything that might be wrong with us, or we might have a sick day, there is money missing. We might have to cut our groceries short, or have to be late on rent, be late on student debt loans, because that's how much money we have to pinch. Inflation makes it so hard for us to work. I'm going to put up a chart right here, and if you see the chart, it actually shows what the rent was, and current day's money come from 1973 all the way down to 2023. And what you see here is that the rent rises almost 10 times as much in 40 years. Me, as a person from Philadelphia, our minimum wage has not raised since 2009, and it still stands at $7.25 compared to what it used to be in 1973 at $5.15. And I know you might think that this is a big raise, however, it is not. Compared to how much the rent has raised, compared to how much the minimum wage has raised, it is not enough for what we need, and that is just on rent alone. Now, another thing I would like to talk about is that Gen Z can't keep jobs, or we don't like to work. Like I said previously, my friends and people I know in my generation are some of the most hardworking people I know. We have some of the most entrepreneurs by any generation, just small businesses and also side gigs. According to another research, 41% of us say that we use side gigs to stay on top of work, stay financially stable. In this current day and age, people like to say we're lazy, but in this day and age, it is no longer enough to just work 40 hours every week to make ends meet. That is not enough for us. Now what we're seeing in Gen Z, on top of the full-time job we also have to have side jobs. We have to show up and be present for those side jobs. A lot of us are still teenagers or growing up into, so we have to go to school as well. We have to manage school, work, and on top of that have another job just to support ourselves financially. That shouldn't be the case compared to other generations before us. Now, another thing I want to talk about is our mental health. Gen Z is very known for prioritizing our mental health. Our mental health is very important to us because we grew up on the internet. The internet has allowed us for a space to be a community with one another, to talk about stuff that, isn't so comfortable to speak about. With this being said, we are super hyper aware of everything that's happening around us. So that might be food crisis happening around us, wars going on, genocides going on, climate crisis happening. We are constantly in a state of anxiety and panic because since I remember being alive or looking at a phone, I remember seeing that bad stuff is happening in the world. When I grow up, it's going to be worse for me. And you hear that all the time, but climate change and politics, the next generation is going to be worse for them. Climate change is going to happen. Pollution is taking over. The earth is dying. Like, we have this never-ending sense of pending doom. On top, because of that sense of pending doom, we have looked and realized that if we keep at this rate, if we keep going, we are going to die a death just working ourselves basically as slaves. It says that 40%, according to, I think this
Deloitte
is
Global,
40% of Gen Z feel stressed or anxious all the time. Now, if you look at this slide I'm going to show you, or this insert picture I'm showing you right here, it shows how our generations compare based on, in terms of feeling anxious or feeling anxiety and feeling stressed and depressed. Based on this chart, millennials, Gen X and boomers feel not way less, but a substantial amount less anxiety compared to Gen Z. And I believe this is due to the factors, as I stated before, seeing everything happening around us, and also going into not only seeing that stuff growing up, but going into the workforce and being told that it's going to be worse for us and we may not even be able to buy a home by the time we are 30, retire by the time we are 70. other generations have gone through recessions. They've had their hard times and ups and downs. But as I've shown you guys, compared to the inflation rates that we're facing compared to other generations, and the stress levels that Gen Z is facing compared to other generations is substantially higher. Because even if other generations were poor, they were going through all of this stuff, they did not have the internet in their face to compare them to rich people or to tell them that they were poor. I was talking to my mom, and I was talking to one of my counselors from my old high school, and he works with a lot of Gen Zers. And he was saying like how it's so sad that because we're a really smart and bright generation, and how sad it is that, you know, we're experiencing this because their generation, even if they went through a recession in 2008 and people were poor, they had no idea that they were poor. They didn't have to deal with that fact every day. They didn't feel like they were running out of time or not doing enough or stressed just because of the financial state of the world, the economic state of the world. Also, what we see from other generations is we see a lot of, I talk to my grandma and my mom a lot, and they talk a lot about how stressed they are when they work, like how stressed and how hard they had to work through life. And though, you know, it is good to work hard in life and be very successful, I also have to say, as a Gen Zer, we really prioritize making sure that when we look back on life, it's not just about surviving. It is about living life to the fullest. Yes, you need to work. Yes, you need to make money, but you also need to live your life. You need to find your purpose. You need to make memories. You need to have a family. And to do that, Gen Z feels like we need to push for a better work environment that is more equipped to handle people's mental health, while also upholding their dignity by paying them wages that will adequately pay for their life. And because we want to know that at the end of the day, we can make a good living and not have to worry about being fired from our job just because we're young, just because we want to advocate for ourselves and our mental health. So, to sum up all of this, I would like to say that Gen Z, in my opinion, is not lazy. We are in fact innovators, and we're in fact progressives. We want to push for a work environment that is healthy and that works for everyone, and that can translate to future generations and be better for them. So next time you think about Gen Z is lazy or we're this or that, please consider these factors. Please think about how the economic state of the world, our anxiety, our mental health might impact these things. And think about, because I'm pretty sure older generations are feeling it as well too, but think about how hard that might have been to navigate 20 or 30 years earlier in your early 20s or teens or mid 20s. Think about how hard that might have been to navigate then and there, what you might have done. Thank you. This is Aisha Chestnut. Have a wonderful